producers call you and ask you to be on Oprah. So,
Um,
and that was your starting point. And let's start there.
it was surreal. It was surreal. The phone rang and this woman said, "Hi, this is Sandy from the Oprah Winfrey Show. Are you available on Wednesday?" But the journey getting to Oprah was one of grassroots sort of thing. And as I was told by big publishers, getting Oprah was like an Academy Award. You got the Academy Award for publicity and marketing. But the publishers that were giving me these rave reviews are the very same ones that turned me down. They turned me down. They did not want my book.
And there were like 17 of them, weren't there?
17 books.
No, 17 publishers that turned you down.
Oh, well, yes. and the beautiful thing, and we'll kind of get to that, but their letters all said the same thing. Good luck and good luck in finding it a good home.
Right.
Okie dokie then. So, all right, I decided my fate was not going to be in the hands of somebody sitting in New York not getting it. So I ended up creating a workbook myself. And I decided in order to get this workbook.
Lynn,
pardon me?
Let's talk about why.
The
how
why
this came about.
Oh, how, okay, jump in. All right, so when I was 25 years old and scaling that career ladder, I was working for a Fortune 500 company. I started as a temp, made it all the way to marketing accounting manager. It was amazing. It was, I was going to just keep growing. The resume was building. Sky's the limit because I put in the work. And then the phone rang one day and my father said, "Mom's on her way to the hospital." I left work, landed at the emergency room, went looking for her. A doctor came out and said, "Don't go in right away, but I just have to tell you, she doesn't have pneumonia." I'm like, yay, she has cancer. Inoperable. Okay. Next, that was an unbelievable, as you would think, from doing accounting, working in a general ledger to an hour later, your life is turned upside down. And then a few months later, my father wasn't feeling so well. And I'm thinking, he kept saying his back hurt. And I'm like, well, you're doing too much. You're really working out in the yard so much just to get that extra energy and just everything, just getting outside, doing too much. Let me take you to a chiropractor and he could help your back. And let me just take care of Mom. And we're going to make sure you're okay. And the chiropractor came out and said, took some x-rays. I'm sorry, he has cancer. So within a 6-month period, both my parents were diagnosed with terminal cancers with a 6-month prognosis when I was 25. So I went into denial. Let's not talk about it. We don't need to talk about it. I'm going to find the best doctors. We're between Boston and New York. We're going to get the best. We're going to get a cure. And I was praying for a miracle, hoping for a cure. And my mother called one day and said, "Come over for a cup of coffee." Okay. So I went over and she said, "You're going to be left with the house, the car, the yard, the dog, crazy auntie. Do you want to be left with questions or answers?" So let's start talking about how to take care of the yard, how to take care of all the checkbooks and investments, how to take care of the dog. How to take care of everything. She said, "Because I don't want to leave you with questions. I want to leave you with answers." And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of my father taking me out into the yard and telling me, when you're going to go cut the lawn. I'm like, "I can cut the lawn." He goes, and we go into the barn. It's a big John Deere tractor. It's a big lawn. I'm excited because I can drive the tractor. And he's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, this is great. And I'm like, where's the key? On the other side of the barn, on the window shelf, underneath the brick was the key, because my father was afraid that the John Deere tractor robbers were going to come in the middle of the night and take his tractor. So something as easy as cutting the lawn wasn't going to be easy until he told me where the key was. Then he went back, the love of his life, besides my mother, was his yard. And it's like, what are you going to do? One of these days, the septic tank is going to need pumping. I'm like, I don't want to hear about a septic tank. I don't need that. And I said, just write everything down, Dad. Just whatever you think I need to know, how the yard works, how the car works, just lists of people, that the plumbers, the electricians, please just create a list for me. That's great. Go in the house. And my mother said, well, the yard and numbers are taken care of with Dad. That was kind of his job. But could we go for a ride? And I'd like to get some stationery, and I'd like to write some letters to my friends and thank them for their friendship. Like, okay, got that. And then one day she said, need to take a ride to a toy store because I need a Cabbage Patch doll. So anybody of a certain age would know that they were impossible to find, totally impossible to find. So I figured, okay, fine, if we never find the doll, my mother's just going to keep, hoping and wishing we're going to find that doll. She'll be around forever. So we couldn't find a doll. So I asked her friends, when you're out, if you find a Cabbage Patch doll, I don't know why she needs one. She doesn't collect dolls. There's no little babies in the house. I don't need a doll, but she wants one. So her friend Jan came over with a Cabbage Patch doll. I went, hallelujah. Yay, Mom, Jan did it. She's got the doll. And my mother, who was very easygoing, said, no, she needs to have orangey hair. I'm like, Mom, please. They all need adopting, please. No. So Jan came back, and I do have the visual because I am a show and tell person. Meet baby. Yep. And the reason my mother needed this doll was she wanted to make sure that although she would never meet her, the first doll that her grandchild would get would come from her. So when my daughter was born, I gave her the doll, and my daughter was born with red hair. And there was no red hair in the family. Only Clairol controlled the color of one's hair in our family. And I call it grandmother's intuition. So my mother was thinking about the future and a connection and something to hold on to. Another ride we took, because it always had to, we always had to end with Friendly's ice cream wherever we went. So, and always a destination. We're going here to do this, there to do that. And I'm a good doer, tell me what to do and I'm doing it. And I'm making lists and I'm checking it twice. And she's like, okay, well, let's just take a ride, take a left, take a right, take a left. And I'm like, okay. Then we're at an intersection. I went, nope, we're not going. And it was the funeral home. And I went, Mom, no. She said, don't worry, I'm not staying today. Let's just go. Please promise me. So we went in, I'm terrified. And she just had a conversation about what she'd like and what she wouldn't like. And she turned to me and she said, well, you don't like to cook. Okay. And we need to talk about that here. She said, so I don't want you going crazy, spending all kinds of money on all these things. And, let's just keep it within a good budget, because whatever extra you might spend, don't spend it. Take yourself out to dinner. Oh, okay. All right. Yes. So she planned it. And she's like, in terms of flowers, don't go crazy. I don't need to look like the racehorse that just won the Kentucky Derby. A little rose would do. And I'm like shell shocked, and she's going through it, but it was done. And with her guidance, when I was walking through that door again, without her, I said, I know what we need to do. And it was amazing. I had her helping me along the way. And those were the talks that I didn't want to have, but were priceless. And that's what I have been doing all these years, is starting conversations and letting people know it's not so bad, especially when you're not at crisis mode. So that was the beginning of, so back to the list. There was a gigantic list. My father's folders were full of just, how to take care of the numbers, how to take care of everything. So that's when I thought, okay, who isn't going to need a roadmap like this? So I created the workbook, and that's when I pitched the publishers, and they went, no, thanks. We don't know who the market is for. So that's when I went back and created publishing company. That would be a good start. AAIP Publishing, which stands for Absolutely Anything is Possible. And went to the bank, I think I need a couple little bits of, little loan here or there. And they were so kind and gave me a little loan to print up some. And then next thing you know, I sent off a little package to Oprah, and there was a letter of introduction, a copy of the book, and the map to the septic tank. My father left me a map to the septic tank. I included that in the package, and that is what landed me on Oprah.
So for those on the call who, and most of us are, who deal with seniors on a regular basis, and especially for those who maybe in the home care business and know that seniors, should take care of these things in advance, how do you begin the discussion? Or is there an easy way to do it, or is there no easy way to do it? Or you just, give them a copy of your book and start there and say, look, this is a discussion we have to have? Or how do you get children involved in having that discussion with their parents? It's a big deal, and most people just don't want to talk about it or deal with it. How do you start the conversation?
Okay. Well, the adult children do want the conversation. They want to start the conversation because they realize they're going to have to jump in and take over. So they do want the answers. So that's not the hard part, is getting their buy-in, because they just want to lighten the load because they know what they're facing. And then you've got the parents who say, I don't want to leave my family a mess. So you have the buy-in there, but it's timing. It's the timing of when to start the conversation. And so you use something that happened. For instance, so-and-so just got diagnosed. This just happened to this one, but my business blew up, silver lining, unfortunately, with COVID, because that was everyone's mortality wake-up call. Everyone. Right. Because, oh my gosh, what if young families, young couples were calling me saying, this could happen to me, and I'm like the director of operations in my house. I'm the one that does this. Can you help us? So I had so many fun Zoom checklist parties. So I was the icebreaker. It was come one, come all, whoever wanted to gather around the Zoom. And we went through the things that would be important as a checklist. What should you have at least in place for now? And then you could go to level 2. And it was so much fun. And the conversations and the what ifs, and then people would say, oh, we can't talk about funeral planning. People had so much fun saying, I want this kind of music and I want that kind of music. And, it was not what people expected. So anybody should use the opportunity of timing. Of my friend just went through this, or, I heard this just happened. And, it became so much more of a burden for a family to take over and step in. And also, when I talk to older adults, they say, I don't want to be a burden to my children. Please help me organize all the bits and pieces of my life, so I am leaving things in good order. Or if they have to come over and start taking care of me and organize things, everything's in place. So timing. So don't talk about apples when you're picking oranges. Don't go in that orchard looking for oranges when you're in the apple orchard. Timing is important for the conversation. So trending, whatever's trending, use that as the jumping off point.
And again, I know the theme and the title for this program is hidden gems and in aging. And this is a very hidden gem that we're talking about, that these are important conversations to have. Your book is a product, certainly, but these are really
Right.
important conversations to have, because you don't want to find yourself having these or wishing that you had this conversation and then finding out that it's too late, certainly.
Right. Right. And
So,
that's,
then, yeah,
God, I'm sorry, but
so,
that's the I wish I started, why didn't I do this sooner? And I use the example of a phone chart, your phone. People are going, oh my gosh, it's the charge. I should have charged it. I should have charged my phone. Now I'm stuck. I can't. You get upset because you forgot to charge your phone, and you see the burden that it is because now you can't communicate. And people will say, I got other things to organize. The idea of just being out of commission because your phone doesn't work, having all
yeah.
those other little points in your life not at your fingertips, it becomes a bigger deal.
And,
Yeah.
and we'll leave this in a second, because you have certainly plenty of other things to talk about. But from Oprah, you were on the Today Show, certainly, with this, and you had a PBS show, and certainly very big in Connecticut public television. So obviously you struck a nerve that people, I think, wanted to talk about these kinds of things, and found that maybe now there's an avenue that they could without being
Right.
intrusive, and that's a big deal.
Right.
So
And
and
it's easy to hand somebody. Everybody says, oh, I don't know where to begin. If you give them the tools, it opens the conversation, or you open the workbook and you start working at it. And it's really not hard. And when people will say to me, once I got started, I wanted to keep going and going, because each time I did a little more and a little more, I felt more relieved. And ultimately, I am saving my family time, money, and their sanity. It breaks my heart when I got an email from a man 2 weeks ago and said, "Dear Lynn, you don't know me, but my friend Darlene said you should talk to me. My mother passed away. My father's living at home and wants to stay at home, but I think he has a reverse mortgage. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who his lawyer is. I've been looking through all the paperwork for a week. My brother and I aren't talking to each other anymore. My father is very sad and grieving and crying. And he said, I have lost weeks of my life. I've already lost my mind, and I'm turning to a total stranger for help. I wish things were in better order." That broke my heart. It's so sad. And I helped him because I sleuthed with him, thanks to FaceTime, and asking the questions, getting closer to the answers. But that's what I don't want for people, to have to reach out to a total stranger to get the answers, that are under their roof, and within, reach, if you start the conversation.
So some good news for you is that people are not just asking, but they're demanding where they can get your book.
Right.
So
Yeah,
although we weren't going to make this a commercial, in a sense,
no, it's not a commercial. Please.
Here's your moment.
Yeah, but the idea is it's a tool. It makes things easier. It starts you thinking. And that's my wish.
I'm serious about this, Lynn. Where can people get your book?
Okay, so you can get it, on Amazon, but I'm going to put it in the chat. If you go to, wait, this tech stuff is going to be under me. I can organize your life, but I can't organize your tech. But anyway, if you go to organizeyourlifechecklist.com, and I try a QR code at the end, but anyway, there you can get something that I want you to get started on. I created a checklist. Here's my show and tell. Okay. Okay, so this will get you going on thinking about all the areas you might want to think about organizing and getting answers to. So if you go to organizeyourlifechecklist.com, and then the opportunity to get my book is there, and I have special offer, 50% discount, free shipping, and some extra bonuses as well, because I just want to encourage you to get started, and looking forward to conversations with you. And that's one of the things, if anybody would like to hop on a call, I can, and you'd get that information, how to reach me in that organizeyourlifechecklist.com. And then we can ask me anything, just how to get started, or if you have a particular question, I'd love to help you, because I just want more people talking. I want more people to have the gift of knowing what to do just in case. So,
but there is no just in case. That's
it's
the whole point of it, is that, yeah, it's as they say in the insurance business, it's not a question of if, it's a matter of when. And
right.
So, all right. So
Yeah,
organize.
and that's the, okay. I'll put it in. Yes, organize your life checklist.com. So www. Okay, hold on. All right, can I try this thing? And I know, wait, I'm going to put it in the chat. This could take forever because I'm such a.
Scott's got it right there.
Oh, of course, Scott.
We are.
Start here? Really?
Yep.
Wow, I hope it works. Try it, please. Tech is not my strength. And look, because I get a little crazy, a QR code for later, but let's not go there. But anyway, so back to what we need to do. We need to get you started with things like, where do you begin? And talking about aging in place. That's what everybody's wants to do. And knowing that as we age in place, we need caregivers coming into the house. Our family may be coming in and out. Neighbors might be wanting to help you. A good way is, first of all, just to organize your stuff and just make it a little easier to navigate. And it doesn't have to be a big decluttering project. Just start small. And I always say, do the sweep. Just do the sweep. A little garbage bag, papers, old magazines and catalogs, you'll feel pounds lighter. So you're organizing your life can start right there with just the stuff. And as one family said, I want to stay in my home. And then when I'm done staying in my home, I'm going to move to another home by the beach, because that's my dream. But I've got to get the shrine to the kids upstairs done. They're in their 40s. The shrine has to come down once they get their stuff done. So that's in process. I don't want you working at crisis mode, pre-need mode. So start now, when you don't have any big health issues, when you can make your own decisions, give orders if necessary, and start just working on decluttering and just moving things around, trying to sell some things. That's huge, because sooner or later, the house will be sold, and whoever has to come in and take care of what's in there, the less they have to manage, the better. So you can start with your stuff.
So let's talk about how, obviously from going from in the checklist of life that you morphed into this whole new line of work for you in business. And clearly you saw a need as you were talking with seniors and doing these presentations, that was another big problem in their lives, is that as they were aging in place, they were collecting in place. And then for those that were going into or downsizing and aging in place in a smaller home, or those going into assisted living or whatever, you had to even get rid of more things. But as I know, you travel around the country working with estate attorneys, just doing that, and you have that kind of reputation that you can get called, at a moment's notice and say, I've got this client who, is in a mess. What do we do?
Right. And so I become a detective. I just came back from Arizona. families moving their loved one from Arizona to Connecticut. And he recently lost his wife, and they said, go out there, empty the house, bring the important stuff with him. And can you do it in a week? Well, okay, we'll see. So when I went out there, it was, and it's a balance because his heart is broken. His wife just passed away. He's got to move. And I knew the steps that I needed to take care of. So first, when I do a move, first thing is, what are you taking with you? And then most importantly, what are you taking with you that will fit? Okay, so you can't put a gallon of milk in a pint-sized container, okay? No matter how hard you try. So first things first, what are you going to take with you? Next level, what will family or friends want? Next, what can be sold? Next, what can be donated? And then it will be disposal. So if you have to crunch that in, I worked fast and stayed a little longer than a week. But first things first. So I was asking him what was important, knowing where he was moving, will it fit? And also, is it worth the cost of moving the recliner cross country? So you kind of, you measure the cost benefits of, the cost of moving and everything else. But here was the horrifying thing I found out. Horrifying. This was awful. So I'm going through his mail and I'm asking him what's paid online, because I was moving him here next to family who said, line up all his bill paying online, just figure everything out. We're going to take care of him, but just get him set. So I started asking him about pensions and what do you do online? And do you have passwords? And just, no, my wife did everything online. Where are the passwords? Somewhere here. Okay, don't worry. And I always said, don't worry, go sit outside. We're good, don't you worry. Okay, so as I went through, and obviously I don't have power of attorney, so I can't be poking in that kind of thing. Just by chance, I was checking his mail, opening it, and it was a change of beneficiary form. His caregiver knew he was moving, didn't know I was coming as quickly because I came unannounced to him, so he wasn't going to worry about me coming. She was doing his bill paying for him after his wife passed away. She moved. She had his insurance and his investments in her name. Not good. By chance. This is not good. So that is why it is important to not wait to ask the important questions, or if one person does something in the family, make sure the other person gets in the driver's seat with the passwords. I call it, it's take a tour of your finances. So when I was working with another couple and she said, oh, he has everything online, everything is good. I said, well, can you sit there and run through it, just in case. And so she said, yeah, I can do it because he's got everything so well set up, he told me. So she's sitting there and I'm sitting there and she goes, I can't even, what's the password to even get into this computer? Like, what is, okay, so we worked it through. So she did 2 cycles, 2 months of just viewing of what was online, and she was comfortable. So it's get somebody involved sooner than later, a loved one or, somebody you can trust, to start looking at how bills are paid, who the insurance company is. I had another family where the pipes went in the basement. And the adult child called me from Florida and said, the pipes blew. My mother's going crazy. Can you help her? Sure. Call the insurance company. I will. I go to the mother's house and say the insurance company. And she's like, I don't know. So it's the what if. And so if you start the process now, as put an hour in, when it's convenient, sit down and say, okay, what's our income coming in? What's going out? Because I know I jump around with my stories, but I just helped a young widower. His wife passed away, and he said, she was the director of operations. And he said, I have less income now. We're going to have less income. So can you help me set up a budget? And that's a great thing. Unfortunately, I wish they did it earlier, but it's the kind of thing where it's great to learn where things are, what comes in, what goes out now. So I can't encourage enough to just start the conversation now. So it's the everyday ordinary. Like, what do you do every day that somebody else takes care of? Let them take care of it. It's the how, I call it the how-to tour. So I have taken my daughter on the how-to tour of this house. Okay, just in case you need to, this is how to fix this. Here is the password to the Wi-Fi. Good thing to know, because if she ever came over to work remotely, she'd want to hop onto the Wi-Fi. So it's the little things. So think about your everyday ordinary stuff you do and start sharing the information a little bit at a time.
So if you're working with seniors in their home, let's say as a home care company, employee, or you own a home care company, or you're doing other, therapy for a senior in their home, is it worthwhile to have a checklist put together of the thing? And most or just about all do, but some of the things that you're talking about generally aren't on those checklists, in terms of, the not the physical part of it, but just the well-being part of it. And, if there's a resource for them to go to that, or talk to you, certainly that would be beneficial. So. Right.
It's a jump start. It's a jump start, and it's little bits at a time. And even it depends on what mood you're into. When I work with a family, I'm like, what are you in the mood to do? Like, are you in numbers? Are you thinking numbers? Are you more sentimental kind of feeling today? And they'll say, I just want to, I said, tell me some stories, and we'll pick something special out. Like, pick out something, that would have a story that you want to share. And it starts there. So when you give yourself time, then you give yourself the opportunity to leave answers instead of questions. And in my own family, this is what broke my heart. My father was in the service, and in the cedar closet, of course, was his army jacket. And it was always in the same place, and I didn't touch it. It was something you didn't play with. And then when he passed away and I was in the cedar closet, and I, was going through things, I packed it away. And then I have a son who, was younger, and he goes, what's that? And I said, your grandfather's army jacket. And, of course he put it on, and he goes, well, what's this for? And he was looking at all the things, whatever, stripes and things. And he goes, what's that for? And what was that for? And what did he do? And I didn't have the answers. I did not have the answers. And I wish I did, but I never took the time, because you're always busy as an adult child. I was too busy living my life. And then when they got sick, we entered a new world of a new language, a new medical language with new appointments. So here's the irony of that story, because I love my props. And when I go and do a presentation, I brought the army jacket with me, just like you saw the doll. And a man came to me after, and he said, if your father's name was Joseph, I served with him. And
oh, wow.
I served with him, and I can tell you what those stripes mean. And I could also tell you what special thing he did for somebody that lives in Connecticut, It's how he helped to save somebody. I'm like, and here the thing is, a total stranger told me this great story, and I'm sorry that I didn't take the time to ask the questions of what are that little special thing, or what about this, or what about that. And if he wasn't willing to tell me, I would have asked. And now it's so easy to record things, just tell the story, let's turn the phone on and just record, or just write it down, because you may not think you want it, but maybe the next generation does. So, that it's just all about taking the time.
So whether you're in the reverse mortgage business, or a financial planner, or a home care person, or, all the other industries and businesses and services that work in the senior marketplace, in some form or fashion, you have to sell yourself. And the idea that, why would they choose one home care company over another one? I have a friend here in Dallas who is starting his own home care company from scratch, and
Wow.
I wouldn't say he's having a difficult time with it, but it's not the easiest thing though either. What did you do? I mean, you started out as someone who was an accountant in Connecticut, and now you've been on, all the national televisions and have this national brand and have a state attorneys nationwide reaching out to you. What are some of the things that you did to build your brand that we can take away and think about what we can do in our own local community to build our brand and set ourselves apart from everybody else? Is caring more than the next person, in and of itself enough?
Well, of course, over deliver. And I hate the word over deliver, because over delivers over delivered. But if you love what you do, it's going to come through. That it's not, just I'm in it to win it and out. But I started networking slowly but surely. And I just started knocking on doors, and didn't have any shiny brochures, and would just say, if there's any way I can help you. So I went to different communities, assisted living communities. I went to the different, AARP meetings. I did my fair share of my church ladies who took such good care of me. All the prayers, those prayers got me to Oprah. It was just, I started small, and just one-on-one, because there was no email blast. And it was being present. And also, when I worked with somebody, if it wasn't a good fit, then I wasn't going to work with you. If it wasn't, so because I wanted the right fit to be the right fit. So it was big on listening. Any of the consults that I did, I would just introduce myself. So if a family calls, and now I've never put all my businesses, I put 0 ads in the paper. I have never advertised, ever. No ads. It's been all referral based. And I went to attorneys, and set up a meeting just to chat and say, if you see a need, have your person call me. There's no charge for the call. It's not consult, with $100 will go towards your deposit. No, it wasn't, because this is such a human to human business that I think about if somebody walked into my mother's house, I'm a stranger walking into somebody's house and they're telling me about their lives. I want to make sure that they're comfortable with me. So I just knew, hopefully, that it would be referral based, because also it's really hard to explain what I do, because it's called Moving and More, and it's the more. And the things I've been asked to do is I've had multiple dogs in 2s and 3s, because the more part of Moving and More is the person could no longer take care of their dog. So this little dog that's blind and deaf and incontinent is looking at me. That's that's my boy. So let me just tell you that we've had many dogs, and my I'd call my daughter and I go, we have a new dog. And she said, Mom, for once in my life, could we have a new dog instead of a used dog? That's the more part of moving and more, but you just see, you see a need, you're honest, I work hard. Even if I can't help you, I'll help with referrals, because most people at this stage feel vulnerable, they feel alone, and they're afraid to ask questions. They're afraid to feel stupid. And so, you just have to be honest and real and be able to help them. And if you're not able to help them, you say, we'll find somebody else. So that's it. I got an email yesterday, dear Lynn, and it was from an attorney. You worked with me 7 years ago. I have a new client. Like, whoa, 7 years ago. He remembers me. He said, this is a perfect fit. He said, my clients are aging now, and I helped him with his family. I get calls from, this is the thing. I get a call from, like, I help somebody's father. And then I get a call from the son, and I keep everybody's phone names in my phone. I have like 20 years of names. And the name came up, and I went, oh, geez. And he said, well, yeah, now my father's age, I hope you're still in business. Because you got to help me now. You got to help me downsize. Now I go, I already know what's in your house because you took your father's stuff and you brought it to your house. He goes, yeah, and it's still in the basement. We don't even have to unpack it. So it's referrals, and it's just, small steps and being consistent and, and not down somebody's throat. I'm not a hard sell kind of person. So
Russell asked a question about going back to starting the conversation with someone about not just, decluttering or, downsizing if they have to, but I'm sure even just, planning out their life. How do you start that conversation? Just talking about that again, and just in terms of how do you know it's the right time to even start that conversation? Let's put it this way. Is there a bad time? Let's start there.
Yeah, it's a bad time when somebody feels blindsided. So that's why you have to look for the opportunity. So one family called me, and after Thanksgiving, an adult daughter called and said, I walked in my mother's house and this is what I saw. The vacuum was in the middle of the floor, and my mother would never leave the vacuum in the middle of the floor. She needs help. Things are slipping. There's an opportunity. So she then called her mother and said, my friend had Lynn, this person that comes in and helps sort things out. She's not a cleaning lady kind of, but she can help with that, or she can help with resources. Is there something in the house? Do you need any help? So she kind of deferred to the friend. You can make up, that you have friends that, it's an opportunity. You see something and but you don't pound the person. You don't say, Mom, how can you live like this? Mom, if you don't pay your bills on time, you're not going to have any lights on. One daughter, she got mad at her brother. The brother said, Mom, you're going to freeze to death. Like, this house is so freezing. Like, why are you living like this? Like, no. Would you want to be talked to that way? Don't know. So an opportunity, take the opportunity if it presents itself, and, look for an opportunity. But then it's the approach. Like, how would you want to be talked to? Like, when I'm helping somebody declutter, they'll say, Mom, you don't need this. This is junk. So you know what I do? I go to the adult daughter, and I'll pick up her pocketbook and say, you don't need this. This is big. Why do you need to buy this? Oh, got it. It's because I could say it with this daughter, but the idea is put yourself in their place. How do you want to be spoken to? If you were them, how would you want to be spoken to, and how would you want it delivered?
Yeah.
And don't be the meh, 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 or I see a mess and things are going wrong. No, or you need to move the grasses. No, it's start slowly, start softly, and you're going to see signs in the house. So just kind of start slowly and kindly.
What things have you been amazed, and just we'll wind this down in a second, but what things have you been amazed that people actually hoard?
Hoard?
Yeah.
A lawyer called me to do a house, a lovely house on the beach. And I went to the address and saw a condemned sign on the house. And so I called the lawyer and went, I don't know if I think I'm at the right house. It's condemned. You want what? Yeah, just go in. Okay. So I went in, and the fire department put lolly columns up because the man hoarded paper. The weight of the paper in every room was so heavy that they had to support the ceilings. And when he ran out of paper, guess what he started doing? Writing on the walls. So I had over 8 tons of paper from that house.
Oh.
And then I had a job in Pennsylvania, where the total cost of the dumpsters was $60,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And just
They
stuff.
liked big refrigerators. They liked big appliances. So, and I don't judge anybody ever when I walk through somebody's door. You don't know what's going on in their life. And when I talk to a mother, daughter, son, they'll say, my son does this and that. And then I'll talk to the son and say, my mother, there's 2 sides to every story. Everybody has their story. I listen and I just try to help, but never judge, because it's not ever what it seems. Ever.
Yeah. My father's thing was boxes of slides. So, he had slides from, the 40s, and, he didn't have a slide projector anymore, but nevertheless, he had boxes and boxes and boxes of slides and moved them from Connecticut to Florida on top of it.
Of course you did. And then
I
right. And they're probably triplicates of the tree, that he took, that special tree. And then guess what's happening now? I'm being asked by the adult children to have those slides scanned just in case there's something good in there, and they don't want to throw it out because they do want to have something to hold on to. And that's the other thing, when people say my kids don't want anything, they do. They may not want 10 mixing bowls, but they do. I was working with a CEO of a company, and he hired me. He said, I just need to do the walkthrough when you're done with my mother's house, a few days before, move her, take care of her, buy her all new furniture. Just, we're good. And so a few days before, I said, I haven't finished your room yet. So if you'd like to come a couple of days before, take a look around. And he was not happy. He's like, I told you to get rid of everything. I'm good. I haven't been in that house for 40 years. I said, well, it's still a shrine to you, but that's okay. So he came in, he went into his room. I gave him a garbage bag. I said, so let's just kind of get this room done and we're ready to go. So he's still in there, and he's still in there. And he goes, yeah. He goes, early on, you said something that stuck. He goes, and then the 60-year-old becomes 6 again when it comes to their stuff. He came out like a kid in a candy store, and he's like, look at this sheriff's badge. Do you know what I used to do with this? Well, my brother, he used to be the Indian, and then we used to tear around. My cap gun has to be around here somewhere. What? Where's that? He goes, do you have a box? Do you have a box somewhere? Because I got to save this stuff. And he goes, right. the 60-year-old becomes 6 again. So yeah, he didn't want anything, throw it all out. Once again, give yourself time to touch. And also the adult children have said to me, this is harder than I thought. Harder
Yeah.
than I thought. It's part of, I'm giving away part of my childhood. So see, it's all about start now, not at crisis mode when you're praying for a miracle, hoping for a cure. And it really isn't that bad. And it really can be fun. Pace yourself, pace yourself. You're not gonna, if I told you it's going to take 5 hours to organize your paperwork, you're like, no, man, I can't do it. Like, no, I can't. But if I said, work at your paperwork an hour a week, you could do that. So, don't like lump it, do the training for the marathon all in one day. If you make it small steps, like I heard, this stuck with me. You know what the heaviest weight at the gym is, Peter? What's the heaviest weight? And if you know the answer to this, I'm going to be so mad at you. Go ahead.
Well, I know what it is because there's a scale in the gym.
Oh, wait a minute. I wasn't getting personal. Okay. So here's the answer. The heaviest weight at the gym is the front door.
Gotcha. Next time I'll know.
Yeah. You go to the gym. And that's the thing. The thought of, I've got to organize all these papers, and no, a little bit at a time. And you go away. And then I work with my clients and I said, okay, we're going to work for X amount of hours. But once you get loopy on me, all bets are off. You're making bad decisions. So once I see you getting loopy, we're done. Or if I'm getting loopy, I'm done. Good decisions if you give yourself good amount of time to work.
So we have 5 minutes. I just want to open it up real quick, see if anybody has any questions, if there's anything in the chat box.
And let me check if there's questions.
And Russell has a good question. What do you do if you run into someone who has nobody? Or they have no one to talk to help you? Where do you go? And I assume that's one of the reasons why you deal with estate attorneys all the time. Certainly, is that these are people who have nobody.
The people that have nobody, depending on the town they're in, there is somebody. So sometimes a neighbor will reach out to a social services person in the town, and I get calls from the social services departments in the towns saying, we're going to pay a visit, and could you be a resource for that person? So, hopefully there's a neighbor that can, it's hard. If you have no one, unfortunately, until something happens and they do fall, or the postman realizes that the mail is building up, then the person lands in the hospital. Then I get the call from, they're moved to rehab or something. And that's when a social worker will come in and say, before Mr. So-and-so goes back to his house, we have to make it habitable. So when somebody's alone, they're not, when something happens to them, unfortunately, is when they will get help from the hospital, social services. So that breaks my heart too. Sure. and yeah, so it's, we gotta help each other. You gotta, see something, say something, make yourself open to help somebody in the littlest way. To feel like you don't know where to turn is a very lonely feeling. So if you could be that somebody for somebody, it's huge. It's huge.
So, and Kathy Jacobs is saying that she's a care manager and also the Aging Life Care Association is a great resource for finding help for people across the country. I don't know if you have any experience with the Aging Life Care Association at all.
No, but that's also sharing the resources. Yes. See, that's the other thing I get excited about. And I want to learn more about what people do, so that way I can serve as a resource, but I also educate myself. I just don't willy-nilly give out names. I really want to learn about the business and the person and what they offer. So we're in this to help each other. I mean, we're all sitting here today because we want to help people live a better, stronger, more powerful, happier life, because we all deserve it. And guess what? We're going to be all aging in place someday, Peter. We will.
Speak for yourself, Lynn.
Wait a minute. Isn't that filter on Zoom good enough? Come on.
No.
I gotta ramp that filter up on
There you
Zoom
go.
to look a little better. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll be one big blur next time.
So with 2 minutes left, anything from anybody? Tara, if you want to open up the mic, certainly we can do that.
Sure, Ron. Hi, Ron.
Hi, guys. Yeah, this is
Hi,
great, Lynn. So 2 very quick comments. So I've been involved a lot with developing a guide for family caregivers through every stage from aging in place to end of life. And I just love your approach. I think number one, the checklist, because there are lots of resources, but I think the checklist is really the way to go, because I read this book a while ago called The Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande.
Yes.
Right. And this is a really terrific way to make sure you don't miss things. You develop a checklist and you have to check them off so you don't miss stuff.
Right.
And the other thing was, I love your story about the army jacket, because I think that in addition to like, what do you want to take care of? I think this is one area. There's a woman here that I've dealt with on Long Island who she calls herself a legacy do so. Basically, so the idea is that it's not only stuff that you want to be taken care of and what to do with your stuff, but it's like, how do people want to remember you? And I think we often talk about the stuff of our life, where to go and what it means, but how do you want people to remember you? What are the stories you want to leave behind to answer these questions that, when you're gone, people can't answer. So I thought that was a really valuable lesson.
Thank
No
you.
question.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Thank you. Anybody else really quick? Okay.
Thank you.
Lynn, thank you so much for the past hour and
You're
for everything you do to help folks.
welcome.
And if you want to make one last plug as to where they can get your book, now's your chance.
The recording has stopped.
But you're still here. All right. Okay. So
Go
look
ahead.
at this. I don't know if this is going to work. This is new to me.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
try.
know if you have your phone. Give it a try, because I'm new at this tech stuff. But anyway, go ahead, please. This was amazing. I don't know if it'll work.
Hold on.
So-
Did it work?
I said a plug, not a shameless plug.
It worked. Okay. Thank you, Heather, because
It worked.
these damn kids are using it, and the Today Show uses it. But anyway, if anybody wants to get a jump on a Kickstart idea of how organized their life is, this is the checklist. So organize www, it's in the chat, organizeyourlifechecklist.com. And if anybody, there's a way to reach me somehow. If anybody needs me, Lynn at lynnmcp.com. I just want to check some last messages. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate everything, your time. I'm glad we're a team. We need a team. We are a team. So yay, go team, go. Appreciate this afternoon and time spent with you. So thank you so much.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Lynn. Thank you, Tara, and for the
Okay, so
National
get
Infant
started. The weekend's almost here, guys. You can start your own token
no,
and
it's not, but thank you though.
Well, thanks,
Peter,
everyone.
we're going to mute you. It's time to mute Peter. Okay.
We will send a recording of this presentation to everyone, and it's also available on YouTube. We look forward if you can join us at any other events this week. Tomorrow we have our music therapy discussion group at 11 o'clock, and on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time is our national monthly member meeting, where we're having someone who won a big award at CES for their product with seniors. So I hope to see you all there, and see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.